This one we're following Bo. I think this is the 5th one in the series. This one we follow Bo, and Bo is Rhett's brother. And then this one we follow Theo. Oh my gosh. Theo. Bailey? Sorry, wait. This is honestly winter. I can't do it. I can't do it. Hi, book babes. I'm about to dive into Heartless. This is the 2nd book in the Chestnut Spring series. I'm excited, but I'm also really, really nervous because we are following Cade, which is Rhett's older brother, and we are following Willa, and Willa is Summer's best friend. I adored Willa in the first book. She was so much fun. She was so cute. You could definitely tell that she was Summer's rock. As we know, Cade is a single dad. His son, I want to say, is Luke. And Cade being a single father is actually how they meet, because Willa begins nannying for Cade. So, yeah, apparently she only had a contract that was supposed to last for 2 months, and based on how they fall in love, she stays a little bit longer, like forever. I think this is going to be my first age gap relationship in a book, so I'm kind of excited to see how this goes. It's 11:50. I'm going to go read for... I just want to get through the first 3 chapters. I feel like once you get past the first 3 chapters, you're good. My body's telling me to go to bed. But anyways, bye! Babes, so I am supposed to be going to work soon. And before I left for work, I told myself, okay, I can read 1 chapter. But us bookworms are incapable of reading just 1 chapter. So I read 3 and I'm going to be late for work. But anyways, I am on page 50 something of Heartless, and so far it's really, really good. I definitely prefer Rhett and Summer over Cade and Willa. I love Willa, but Cade is just a little rough around the edges for me, and I'm just trying to figure him out a little bit. But what I do love, like my favorite trope out of all the tropes in the world, is Grumpy and Sunshine, and this book is Grumpy and Sunshine, which is amazing. His like gruff and like not welcoming personality, and Willa being this ball of energy, sunshine, joyful, cheery person. It's going to be really, really fun, and already watching them step on each other's toes has been so funny to me. So I'm excited. I'm at the part where she just started nannying for them. Day 1, they just had their little mini fight, so I'm excited to keep going. I plan on finishing this book this weekend. I'm gonna go to work, and the reason why I'm going into work a little bit later than normal is because tonight I am having a movie night at my house, and because technically I'm doing ministry from 6 to 9 tonight with all these girls, I don't really have to go into the office that much today because I'm doing stuff outside of the office. So I'm still gonna go into the office and do some stuff. I'm very excited for today, and once they all leave and everything, I'm for sure going to start reading this book. But I'm also not going to rush through my time with them because I love these girls. So yay! Oh, and there's other adults that are coming. It's not just going to be me and a bunch of high school and middle school girls. I don't play that game. Such a great night. We're watching Aquamarine and I'm so excited. But anyways, I'm going to go to work, and I cannot wait to pick up this book again. It's so good. But love you guys. Bye. Hi, book babes. I don't know why I'm like literally like crouching on the ground. I so could have gotten you like a booster for the camera. But anyways, I finished Heartless by Elsie Silver last night, and this book was so good. I had every single intention of vlogging me reading it and keeping you guys updated. But when I tell you, these girls left my house at 9:15 and I did not put this book down until I was done with it. I mean that to my core. Like, I was reading this book probably 9:30 till like 11:30. I was sucked deep into this book. It was so good, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love it. I think my favorite thing about this book was how realistic Luke was. Something that I'm a big stickler on is children's dialogue in books, because I work with kids, okay? A lot of the times what authors write them to say, a 5-year-old will not say. a 3-year-old will not be saying that. So I feel like a lot of times like dialogue for kids is really unrealistic, and that always just pulls me completely out of a book. It's like one of my biggest icks, I think, because I work so closely with kids. I work with kiddos from birth till 5th grade, and then I volunteer at our youth, so I'm with like 6th through 12th graders, and I mean like teenagers will say anything, but like your 6 and unders, they have a very specific limited vocabulary that a lot of times authors don't get it. And I read books where like the author has specified like this child is gifted, and that their dialogue makes sense. Like they having a certain way of expressing themselves makes sense because they are gifted and like they have a higher intellect, so like that makes sense. But I feel like everything that Luke said in this book, Luke, by the way, is Cade's son, so I feel like every single thing that Luke was saying in this book, I would hear from one of my 5-year-olds. Like, I think her dialogue was very on brand. I mean, again, Luke does cuss every now and then, but based on how Cade and Willow were cussing around him, it makes sense. How Cade and Willow were talking in front of Luke, his vocabulary was extremely accurate, extremely realistic. Elsie did a fantastic job of getting that correct, which is so difficult for a lot of people to get right, because I'm always like, I also think Elsie did a fantastic job of keeping Summer and Rhett's characters consistent. A lot of times characters kind of fall off after the second book. Like once they are the lead in a book, you don't really get to see their characters anymore, which is really upsetting and it makes no sense sometimes. But Elsie Silver is one of the authors that does a great job of making the characters consistent and making them still a very important piece of their life. I mean, Summer and Willa are best friends. Willa had a lot of page time, had a lot of time, and was showcased a lot in Summer's book, and I feel like Summer was equally shown in this book because, I mean, they are best friends. Like, they tell each other everything, and I feel like Summer didn't play as big a role as I would have wanted, but we did get to see from her. We didn't get her input. I don't know. I guess I would have liked Willa to have gone to Summer maybe like one more time about the whole Cade situation, and she didn't. So I kind of feel like that was a bummer. But I do feel like Summer and Rhett were still very visible in this book, which is a great thing. I want to say the next book we're following Jasper, which is the hockey adopted brother. And we are also following, I want to say we're following Summer's sister, Winter. I'm not sure though. But anyways, I'm going to go get that book and start reading that book, and I will let you know whenever I'll just update you guys. So bye guys. So I am a little over 100 pages into Powerless, and this book is going well. I feel like it's a whole different vibe from Flawless and Hopeless, simply because those two books, they were meeting each other at the very beginning of the first page, so we kind of got to see them get to know each other a little bit, whereas this book, Jasper and Sloane have been best friends since they were 10. So they've grown up together, they've grown up having a crush on each other, they know each other so well. So we're jumping into this book and there's already a very well developed relationship, which is really, really fun and interesting, but it's a different vibe because I feel like with Flawless and Heartless, where we're at in Powerless, there still wouldn't have been any sort of development. They would have just now been like enjoying each other's company. So I feel like this book is a completely different take because, again, they already know each other. They already have a very established relationship. And with the situation that Sloane is getting out of, it's just very finicky, very delicate. So it's really interesting to watch them try to navigate that together. But I'm enjoying this book so far. I just think Elsie Silver, it's so easy to just fall into her books. So this is my third book by her. No complaints so far. I feel like I opened the book expecting to read one chapter, and next thing I know, it's been 8 chapters and I've been in the book for 30 minutes. So I adore her writing style. It's very easy to follow. Her characters are very likable. Jasper and Sloane, I'm having difficulty connecting with them. I really don't know why. I think it's because, again, with Kate and Willa and Summer and Rhett, we were watching them get to know each other. So like that actually really helps you get to know the character because another character is getting to know them. But in this book, it's almost like we're working backwards because Sloane and Jasper already know each other. So like they're kind of filling us in with like these afterthoughts, with these after details, which is totally fine. But based on the vibes of book 1 and 2, it's just different. I do kind of miss like the super country vibes that were in books 1 and 2. With Jasper being a pro hockey player, the country vibes aren't really there as much. But I hope we're gonna get back to that pretty soon because those vibes are immaculate. So I will catch up with you guys later. Bye. Hey book babes. So ignore the fact that we are in a completely new setting. I moved and this is my living room area. My library is not done yet, so I don't want to film anything in there until it is absolutely done. And actually no videos going up until the moving vlog and the library tour will feature that room at all. I'm really keeping that room like on lock, okay? But anyways, so that is part of the reason why I have not checked in with you guys for a month. I finished Powerless, that follows Jasper and Sloane, on July 23rd. Mind you, it's August 28th. It's August 31st. Sorry, it's the last day of August and I have not checked in with you guys till near mid-July. And the reason for that is, one, the move. Obviously, life is crazy whenever you move and whenever you are still doing your full-time job, and like life is supposed to continue, but also your life is in a completely changing and a giant transition and you just have to keep powering through. So I have kind of I took a giant pause from YouTube for a month. Just like I took a pause from recording videos. I took a pause from editing videos. Like I have so many vlogs in the queue ready to go up. I just didn't have any time to sit and edit them. And whenever I was sitting editing, I was like, I could totally be packing things up right now. So it has just been a crazy whirlwind of a month. But also the other reason why I took such a long break from reading and from this video in particular is because I rated Powerless a 2.5, and that was kind of really upsetting because the first book, Flawless, I gave like a 4.25 to, and then the second book, Heartless, again another 4.25. So I rated the first and second book pretty high up there, and this third one, it just didn't do it for me. And it took me a while to like understand, because like the writing style wasn't different. Like Jasper, you have known the whole time. I think to me what gets hard in these series is Sloane is a cousin, and this is the first we've heard about her. Like, you know what I mean? That to me is always like a hard thing, is whenever like they pull in a character and they are so important to the family or to the character, but it's like, I've also read 2 books so far and like you were never mentioned. So like, how important are you? So that was just like, I think a little bit jarring for me. And you know what? Maybe Sloane was in books 1 and 2 and she just wasn't highlighted enough for me that like, I just feel like I never met her. But again, if that's the case, she should have been highlighted more based on the fact that she's supposed to be so important to this family. And that's just always hard for me. But also, I have 3 favorite tropes. I mean, I read pretty much anything, but like if I have to say these are my tropes, then it's grumpy sunshine, fake dating, and friends to lovers. And Sloane and Jasper are a friends to lovers, and maybe it's because I've read so many of them. But this one, it just wasn't really clicking for me. I felt like their chemistry wasn't really there, and that made it extremely difficult for me to like keep reading. They just felt like friends with benefits the entire time that I was reading the book. And also, that's another thing, they had so many of those certain scenes that I don't like to read, and I felt like I was skipping like 5 chapters at a time because of how much was in there. And it was a lot in comparison to books 1 and 2. I feel like I only skipped like 2 chapters in those books, but I felt like I was skipping a lot. I will say the most chemistry, connection, sparks flying that I witnessed in that third book was with Theo, Rhett's best friend, rodeo partner type Theo. and Winter, Summer's sister. So there was a whole scene of like them meeting for the first time. They're like bickering back and forth, and we got to witness that scene through the lens of Jasper and Sloane, which was super cool, but it was a problem because I saw so much more chemistry in those 2 pages than the entire book of Powerless, which is actually a good thing because the next book I am reading is Reckless, and this follows Theo and Winter. I have heard so many things about this book. I think this is everybody's top favorite book, which is crazy because I also hear a lot of positive things about Jasper and Sloane, and that one wasn't for me, so I'm a little apprehensive going in to this book because I've heard a lot of positive from Powerless and I've heard a lot of positive for Reckless, and it's the same people saying that, and I'm just kind of like, oh, so I'm a little worried about it. Also, I have kind of a bad taste in my mouth still with Winter. I think a lot of us do. Getting to know and fall in love with Summer, I'm kind of a little, my protective side's coming out. But then also whenever we got to read Willa's perspective, we got to see Winter in a different light, which was kind of interesting, and I think that was setting the tone for us to want to read Reckless, because having a negative view and then us getting a different lens of Winter made it more of a positive thing. So right now my feelings towards Winter is kind of neutral, but I am more on the I'm Team Summer side of things. So it's Saturday night. I'm not finishing this book tonight. I haven't even started it yet, and it's 11:20. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will chat with you guys tomorrow. Guys, I have finished Reckless by Elsie Silver. I have actually literally not finished a book this fast in quite some time. Like this whole series, this is the book that I've read the fastest. It was so good. Oh my word. 5 stars. 5 stars. There are 4 hearts in this book. Winter's, Theo's, Vivi's, and mine. Okay? I am so attached to this couple. I am a part of their love story. I want to crawl into this book and become Vivi because she has 2 amazing parents who are fantastically in love. Can I just say, I know I was poo-pooing on Powerless literally 2 clips ago. I still stand by that. I feel like it's almost like I feel like Jasper and Sloane just didn't get a good edit. You know what I mean? I adored Sloane in this book. I think the genuine friendship that was created between Winter and Sloane was just so much fun to read. Like to see that Winter not only gained her sister back in Summer, but she also gained like her ride or die, her best friend in Sloane. And I think that was just so, so beautiful to witness and watch, and it was so beautiful. Their friendship was beautiful. But in turn with that, I think it was page 140 and I had already cried like 3 times. Literally. Theo and Winter's love story is one that you could not root for. Like there was no bone in my body that was not invested in this love. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like this is the only romance in this series so far that I have been this deeply invested in. I mean, like the one that comes closest to it is Summer and Rhett, but at the same time I'm like, that was the first couple. Like there was no other couple to be like considering, so like obviously they're already going to be a leg up above everybody else, but like Summer and Rhett, top tier. But then you have Winter and Theo, which is like top tier. Like I don't know what it was about this book that was just so beautiful to me. I think it was the unplanned pregnancy. I love kids. I literally had this entire conversation with you guys already whenever it came to Kate and Willa, and how I really feel like the reason why I connected so deeply with them was simply because of Luke and what a big part like Luke played in the story. And I just feel like having a child brings out the best. I mean, it also brings out the worst, but I feel like whenever it comes to like love and romance, like it is such a good test on relationships. And I feel like Theo, I can't even say that because that would be such a spoiler. That 18-month jump gagged me. I was like, what? Like I was devastated that I didn't get to spend this 18 months with both of these people. Like genuinely
So sad. Anyways, I'm gonna stop gushing about Reckless because this book literally, I think, has changed my brain chemistry for the better. And simply because personality-wise, my heart and my personality, I feel like, is so aligned with Summer. But I want a man to make me gush and just let my walls down in the way that Theo was able to have with Winter. Like, I think those stories are almost so much, it just goes so much deeper because there's so many walls up that the other person has to literally tear down, and that just shows like the trust and the want there. And I just think that is so beautiful. I mean, like, nothing against the other couples where like those walls weren't cement. But I just love this book. It literally changed my brain. It changed my view on love. It changed everything. I'm an altered woman because I read this book and it was so good. I am now starting my last book in the Chestnut Spring series, and it is such a mixed emotion. I'm excited to be able to say that I've read the Chestnut Spring series because I feel like that is so much fun to say, and I'll be part of like the book girly group on TikTok. I'm also just so sad because there's no more like Chestnut Spring love stories that I'm gonna get to hear about. I mean, maybe there's more in the future, Elsie. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I am stepping into Hopeless by Elsie Silver, and again, mixed feelings. I feel like while there's so much praise about the series, I see so much negative about Powerless and Hopeless, and I feel like that definitely gave me some hesitations before Powerless, and definitely probably made me view the book a little differently while I was reading it. But I'm a little worried about Hopeless. But I feel like we've learned a lot about Beau through all the books and just like gotten to know a little bit about his heart and like where his mind is at. And I feel like he's a little troubled. So I'm interested to jump into this book, but I am a little concerned because I do fear. Let's get reading. Oh, yeah. Okay, I am on page 72, and this book is already flying through it. I think one of my favorite things about Elsie Silver is this girl does not wait to start the plot. Like, you open the first page, plot has already begun. And I just love that. Like, the story that you're promised on the synopsis, you are not having to weed through 100 pages before it starts. Like, page 40, you've met the characters, plot is established, and you are just going. I love it. I will say, Bailey right now ticking me off. Girl, I know you're a Jansen. You've mentioned it probably 3 times a page for the past 72 pages. I'm tired of it. I understand why she kept bringing up her name specifically, because that was what led to the fake fiance thing. Like, that plot point is important. Like, for her to complain about her name, it's important because of how they get to be the fake fiancés. Like, I understand that. But I just feel like it's being tossed around so much, point where I'm annoyed by her. I work with kids. It takes a lot to get me annoyed. I am annoyed. Okay, Bailey, knock it off. I know what your last name is, baby. I know it's about to be eaten, so shut up. I am loving seeing this protective side of Beau. I feel like Beau was so much fun for me to read about in the first book. Obviously, he leaves and steps away during the second book, and everything happens in the third and fourth book. So I feel like Beau was a really, really fun side character to read about in Flawless, and watching it just like go through all 5 books. I'm really excited that we're finishing with Beau, because I feel like his plot line has been so drastic and interesting to follow throughout these 5 books. I'm really excited that we're starting on, that we started the series on a high with Beau, and we're going to finish it on a high with Beau, because I feel like he's gone through the most out of every single character in the series. He has endured so much, and so I'm very excited that just seeing him happy. Like, he's already laughing, he's already giddy, he's already cracking jokes on page 72, and I'm just proud of him. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. Hi, you guys! Look at cutie little Addie over here in the corner, sleeping! Okay, y'all, so I stayed up super late last night. Not really. I 12:30. But, that's not super late, because I've literally stayed up till 4.
I've done a whole 24-hour reading before, so this is not late at all. So I have a little less than 90 pages left in this book, and it is so bittersweet. I like this book. It's definitely not my favorite. Not my least favorite, because that was Jasper. I'm just having a difficult time connecting with these characters. I'm gonna give all my thoughts at the end, but that's like my main thought is it's just a bittersweet moment right now. So yeah, talk to you guys later. We just got done playing outside. Boy is hot. Boy is heated. Okay, that's disgusting. Anyways, so I finished Hopeless by Elsie Silver a couple hours ago, but because my battery literally almost died, I was charging her. So now that she's fully charged again and we're good to go, I'm rating Hopeless 3 stars, which is not the rating that I thought I was going to be giving the final book of this series, because this book series truly has been so good. I mean, there was a dip with book number 3, but all other books, I mean, 4 stars and 5 stars. So good. So I was shocked by my rating of 3 stars. I will say, as I mentioned earlier in the vlog of me reading this book, Bailey was really annoying for me in the first couple 100 pages. So for me, that was just a really hard thing to get over. She just wasn't the character for me. And I will say, for this being the final book in the series, I really feel like we didn't get that much from previous couples. Like, I mean, granted, I know Beau was kind of distance from his family because of certain events, and then obviously Bailey being an outsider, she was obviously distant a little bit. And this book was just different because in Reckless with Theo and Winter, like, they both were already like a part of the group, whether they knew that or not. I mean, Theo was Rhett's best friend, Winter was Summer's sister, so like they already had some sort of connection to this group, where Bailey didn't have that. I mean, you have Rhett, Cade, and Beau, who were always kind of like an antagonist in her brother's story, but their connection didn't go any deeper than that. So I feel like this was just a completely different change of pace in reference to Reckless, because Beau was very distant and Bailey was an outsider coming in, which I feel like is something that we didn't get with them, if that makes sense. Like, after the first book where Summer and Rhett have their connection, I mean, Willa is Summer's best friend, Sloane is the cousin, and Winter is the sister. So like all the girls and all the guys already have a relationship, and the only person who was really coming outside of that, after the first book, of course, was Bailey. I honestly almost wish that Hopeless and Reckless were just switched. I feel like Reckless was just such a sweeter book to end on in terms of the closeness of the group. I feel like we just had so much more of the Eaton family in that book than we got in Hopeless. So I just feel like for Hopeless being the final book, I kind of just wish there was a lot more, and we got a bigger check-in on all of the couples. Also, Beau and Bailey, their relationship felt more like protective big brother and annoying little sister than like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, fiance. That might just be me, because a lot of people on the Goodreads reviews literally gas up Beau. They are like 100% for him. He is their favorite guy. People, my friend even said that this is her favorite romance out of all of them. Personally, I think she just read this one last, and that's the one that sticks with her, because I don't understand. But, and I told her that. Don't think this is shade. I told her. I think psychology messed up her. Those are my thoughts. Overall, I really did love the story and love the series. I just think the Chestnut Spring series is so good, so cute, so much fun to read. Elsie Silver's writing, this was my first time ever reading a book by her, and it's just so easy to fall into. I was honestly shocked that I would start the book and say, okay, I'm only going to read a chapter, and setting out to only read that intro chapter, flash forward 30 minutes and I'm on page 100. Like, her writing just sucks you in. I said it earlier, I mean, most plots, it takes you like 100 pages to get into it, but on page 70, like, you are already in the thick of what the synopsis promised you, which is something that I love from Elsie Silver. I just feel like she gets you into the plot so quick and immerses you with the characters and the plot points, and you just are in the story, trudging through it so quick in comparison to other authors, and that I adore. Flawless, I did not vlog in this video because I vlogged it in a previous video where I try to read 200 pages a day, and that I want to say I gave it 4.25 stars. It was so good. Then I read Heartless, and that book got 4 stars. Then I read Powerless. That got, I can't remember if I gave it a 2 or a 2.5, but I gave it one of them. Then I read Reckless. Obviously that was a 5-star read. Oh my word. Then I just read Hopeless, and that got a 3. So overall, I went into this expecting a 5-star series. It was not a 5-star series. It was probably, I'm gonna say, a 4-star series. It was so good. I would definitely be recommending this romance series for people who are new to reading. I feel like these are super easy to just fall into. Like, I feel like you don't need any like prior reading to help you get through this. I mean, I feel like there's so many authors that you kind of have to work your way up to read and actually enjoy them. And I feel like with Elsie, like, you can literally just, you say you want to be a reader and you just read her series and she's going to help you so much. So I definitely feel like this is a series that I'm going to recommend to a lot of like my newbie reader friends because I feel like her writing style is just so easy to follow. But yeah, I love Elsie Silver's writing style. It was just so good. Thank you guys for encouraging me to read this series. It's been an awesome read so far, and I will rank my men for you. Reading them. Humpy. No Humpy. I'm going to rank my men not in terms of like dating them or anything, but just in terms of like reading enjoyability, basically. So bottom line, Jasper, then Beau, then Cade, then Rhett, and then Theo Del Silva. And then for girls, I'm gonna do Bailey on the bottom because she really did annoy me. And then I'm gonna do Sloane, who I feel like didn't really have that much personality, but we did see a lot of her in the 4th book, so that was awesome. Which I feel like if there was a 6th book, we would get to see so much more of Bailey, and I would get to, in turn, love her a little bit more. So I definitely feel like Bailey does not have the leg up that Sloane has. So Bailey on the bottom, then Sloane, then Willa, then Winter, then Summer. Summer is my girl. The reason why I picked up the series is because somebody told me that I reminded them of Summer, and I was like, I gotta know who this girl is, and she's a gem, so she is for sure up there for me. If you like this video and you want to see more of me, please subscribe. Atlas and I will be here every single week. And I love doing vlogs like this, so if chill vlogs are your style, please subscribe. They're my style too. But yes, I would love for you guys to join my Book Babe family. So please subscribe below, leave a like, leave a comment. Who is your favorite Chestnut Springs character? Which one is your favorite book? Let me know all of your tea and details down below. I think you guys clearly know that my favorite is Reckless. I will see you guys next Thursday. To set me free.